I'm live. Thank you. All right. Here's the question. Have you ever felt like you're speaking a different language from the person you love, where no matter what you say, you just can't seem to connect or be heard? What if I told you that the key to resolving that isn't just love, but strategy? The same strategy lawyers use to win their cases. At the core of every relationship lies a contract, not just a legal one, but an emotional and psychological agreement. Think about it. Every relationship, whether romantic or otherwise, involves offer, acceptance, a meeting of the minds, and consideration, what each person gives and takes. These elements form the foundation of every single contract. And when we understand this, we can approach our relationships more strategically. Why is diplomacy important here? Well, contracts, like relationships, need negotiation. And this requires a diplomatic mindset. Diplomacy is simply the art of navigating both agreement and disagreement for the purpose of preserving the relationship and ideally strengthening it. So let's talk about rule number one of relationship diplomacy: clarifying your own position. Before you can effectively communicate with someone else, you have to resolve any internal conflict. These internal contracts or agreements we make with ourselves impact the way we behave in our relationships. If any internal agreement or belief is conflicted or unresolved, it will negatively impact our external relationships. So, in the legal practice, typically during the initial consultation, lawyers, we meet with our clients to discuss their goals with them. What we're looking for is whether or not our clients have goals that are conflicting or unreasonable for some reason. This helps us to counsel our clients on the strengths and the weaknesses of their goals so that we can set reasonable expectations for the outcome of their case. Likewise, whenever engaging in conflict with someone else, it begins with your own goals. Ask yourself, what do I need in this relationship? Do I have any unresolved feelings, such as fear or resentment? Once you clarify your internal position, it helps to align your communication consistently with promises that you've made to yourself. This is very important for eliminating emotional turmoil and for creating the framework for building harmony with the other person. So that leads to rule number two: engage the 2E, 1M principle. 2E, 1M stands for two ears and one mouth. We should listen twice as much as we speak, not just to words. Listen for underlying emotion, unspoken fear, and deep seated desires. See, diplomacy isn't just about eloquent speech, it's about developing a deep understanding of the other person. So, rule number two of relationship diplomacy is related to the phase in legal practice we call discovery. Discovery is a thorough investigation of all the relevant information needed to resolve all of the legal issues. Your role as a relationship diplomat is this: now that you have explored and clarified your own position, you can discover the feelings that are fueling the facts that are feeling the feelings of the other side. Does that make sense? Ask yourself, what are they truly feeling? What needs do they have that they might not be able to articulate? Discovering the answers to these questions provide the building blocks for trust and understanding. This is how we build lasting connection, even in the most difficult conversations, by listening not only with our ears, but also with our heart. So let's talk about rule number 3 of relationship diplomacy. Mine for gold in shared spaces. Every disagreement has an opportunity for mutual benefit. It's really about mapping out the conflict so that you can creatively reframe it to find a way for both sides to win. This is where diplomacy really shines, by transforming conflict into collaboration. The key competency needed for mapping out disagreement is a problem-solving framework that is taught to every lawyer the very first year of law school. This framework is called FIRAC. The F in FIRAC stands for facts. These are the circumstances involved in the conflict. Lawyers are trained to separate the facts from the emotion, because our mission is to uncover the truth of the matter. The difference between a lawyer's strategic approach to conflict and most relationships is that many people emotionally rationalize the facts. But when you have done a good job with rule number 1 and rule number 2, you are in a stronger position to separate the facts from your feelings. The I in FIRAC stands for issue. And the issue in relationship diplomacy is very simple, and it's always the same. Legally, an issue is a question or questions that we have to answer in order to resolve the case or the conflict. Well, in relationship diplomacy, that question is, how do we find a win-win? And now that leads us to the R in FIRAC, which stands for rule or rule of law. Like the issue, the rule of law in relationship diplomacy is also always going to be the same. And that is, the best solutions to any conflict will respect the person or the dignity of both people while delivering a mutual benefit. Now, you may notice that the first 3 letters of FIRAC are kind of all included in the first 2 rules of relationship diplomacy. So the mapping part begins with the letter A, and that is analysis. Analysis is where we simply apply the rule to the facts. So now that you're empowered with the facts of your case, you've separated out the emotions, keeping in mind a goal of finding a win-win. When you begin the analysis, the gold mine begins to come into focus by asking and answering honestly the following questions. What am I feeling? What are they feeling? What do I need? What do they need? Where are we similar? Where are we different? Who has the strongest, most sustainable position, and why?